What is up, everyone on the internet? I am right here by the Truckee River today. I'm normally not on this side. I'm usually on the path over there. And so I just figured I'd do some exploring over here, see what it's like, maybe what it's all about. It looks really pretty like further down the river, so we'll see if I can actually even find the trail. Seems like it's flowing pretty well. But I just wanted to make a video today to say that these probably aren't going to be like the most epic videos this week, and maybe keep expectations a little bit lower. Let's see if I can get across this little log. Okay, that's going to take a lot of focus. Nope. It wobbles. And I'm afraid of falling into the water and getting wet. So, otherwise I would try it. I just really don't want to get wet right now. Alright, let's just keep going down this way. So, the videos this week probably aren't going to be too crazy, just because I need to focus on making money all week. And that means I gotta go into monk mode and take everything I can to maximize the dollar input. I got a lot of stuff I gotta get accomplished. Gotta get down to Colorado, get all my stuff by the end of the month, hopefully. Pay a few bills. Gotta get my, as much as I hate Uber, I probably equally love it. It's definitely a love-hate relationship that you kind of get with these apps, because at times you can make really good money, and it kind of goes along with my personality type of working for myself and not being tied to a schedule where I can go online when I want, I can stop when I want. And I think that relatively we're fairly compensated for the time and effort that you put in. But perhaps sometimes the business isn't there and you guys gotta go with the flow. Another thing that Uber has kind of helped in my own life is I don't really get stressed about the next day and like going into work and dealing with all the stresses of a typical 9 to 5 and having managers. I'm just kind of in more of a zen state where if it's Sunday, I'm not stressing about going back to work on Monday, or on Tuesday stressed out about having another 4 days of having a stressful job and trying to just get there on time and follow all the rules and policies that most businesses have and not piss anyone off, which I tend to have a problem with, because I don't know why it is, but I can piss managers off often. Maybe because I don't play into a lot of their games and bullshit all the time. I'm always like pretty upbeat, but I've had managers say that I need to not be happy, which I'm not really happy. It's more of an act, because if I fake happiness, eventually I'm kind of like happy in a way, and I can go along with all the stressful tasks of working. I don't know if there's any entrepreneurs out there or business owners who feel this way, but it's like when you work for yourself, you have this goal of just meeting a certain minimum amount that you feel like you have to make on a daily basis. And so instead of having an 8-hour day, your day might turn into 12 or more until you meet that goal. But the trade-off from that is you have the freedom to take breaks when you want, to go to the gym, to do errands that you need to get done, and not ask for permission. And I think that's a big thing that I really like, is just not having to ask people's permission. It's like, hey, can I take a break? Or can I take a half day? Or can I go to the dentist on Wednesday at noon? You know, it's all these requests, which as an adult kind of sucks just having to do. It's like you want your autonomy, and yet you kind of still feel like you're in school, and you have to go by others' permissions and their schedules and on and on. However, when you are self-employed and times are kind of tough, which, you know, being in California and facing some of the highest cost of living in existence, there are times when you're like almost kind of drowning in the stress of not making enough money, and you have like these little gasps where you're like and then you're like feel like you're drowning, and you're like and you just get these little breaths which maintain life but still aren't enough for much more than that. It's kind of just like this and then you almost die, and then you get another little gasp, like in Deadpool 1, where he's set into the oxygen chamber. Where he gets his transformation powers, where they take away the oxygen until like he almost passes out and dies, and then gives them a little bit more oxygen. And I think that's at times what it's like to be your own self business, trying to make it work. It's like these little gasps, and then hopefully you get more and more oxygen with time until you can breathe normally. I've taken that analogy a long ways, so. Whoa, look at this over here. I gotta be careful. There's some mud here, and it is just like this clay again that sticks to your shoes. Wow, look at this. This is like a little grassy patch along the river. Wow. Beautiful. It's kind of like these small moments that you kind of feel like the little gasps are enough, and you can power through a lot more. Yesterday I was driving, and I was like, wow, it's 7 o'clock and still light out. This is amazing. You know, it's those little things in life. As springtime comes, summertime, longer days, daylight savings kicks in, you know, helps to elevate the mood, get the spirits up. And, you know, I don't really talk about God that often. And I'm kind of like, I go in between like believing in more agnostic, or not agnostic, Gnostic. Maybe it is agnostic. And then Christianity. But then again, like, it seems like there's evidence for some kind of a God, because I don't know, whenever I'm in really tough times and, you know, I pray about something and of course I don't get an answer right away, but maybe it's like an answer a month or two later where you're like, hey, maybe there is something listening to me up there, and maybe there are guardian angels and some higher being power looking out for me. You know, making this whole life a little bit more manageable. It's definitely not like the saying where you only see one set of footsteps in the sand and it's God that's carrying you. I think that we still have to work and carry our own selves, but you know, when shit really hits the fan and you're like, boy, I ain't got no answers, at those times an answer kind of pops up before you hit absolute zeroed out and you're in real trouble. I mean, something always tends to happen, and it's either good luck or just good fortune comes upon me. Especially when I'm questioning being here, what I'm doing for work and housing, and finding some kind of like companionship. At least in my life, the puzzles kind of click together. You know, like the Tetris game, at the last moment when you're about to lose, right at the tippy top, and then you get like this great combo and it's just like knocks out a bunch of lines down, and you keep that Tetris game alive and going. You're still not out of the weeds and you're still close to being dead, but it never quite hits full game over. And I'm really fortunate and grateful for that. And whenever I feel like I am rock bottom, something tends to happen and it lifts the spirits up just enough to say, fuck it, keep going, pushing ahead, and keep striving forward, and live a good moral life. And you know, I've gotten those moments even from like a lot of comments on my videos. So I'm very grateful for that, and it's a real gift to actually have a channel and people commenting and like just giving words of encouragement, and you know, just keeping me motivated. You know, get out there every day, make some kind of video or something, and that people are watching it. I think that's pretty cool that someone like me, who is just kind of, you know, a nobody, can have some kind of an impact on the world in a way. And this rock is pretty cool. Like, all this space, it's just fields and then a giant boulder. Alright, well, I guess gotta keep moving. Well, I had to lose the jacket. Of course, I well overdressed. Sometimes the wind, though, is kind of cold. But anyways, losing the jacket, you know, and just out here walking the trails. I wonder if the trail goes further down that way. I think so. Yeah, just trying to get some sun on my shoulders. That's the only reason. Just kidding, I'm going for farmer's stand. Boy, this is like a cool field down here. It just like opens up from the trees. I'd say this is a worthwhile break from the craziness of trying to make money. So, one negative, I suppose, about making these videos is that my parents are probably watching every single one of these videos and have no way of hiding what I'm doing and what I'm up to and where I'm going. which can be stressful, and then also definitely not edits, but mutes what I really want to say at times. And much as I love them, they do tend to drive me crazy. But also, going back to times when things are really hard and I feel like I'm almost at game over level, and I don't tell anyone, I'm pretty private about it. That's exactly the time when my dad, we don't talk a ton, but he'll be like, hey, I sent you some money to help out with this move or like what you're doing. And it's unreal, the uncanniness of asking God for help and then manifestation through my own dad, which is pretty incredible. And he's probably going to see this, so don't get a big head about it or anything. But you know, at times you can always not have the greatest relationship with immediate family and your parents. But I think it's always important to try and still be there for each other. You know, obviously parents take care of you when you're young, help you raise into an adult and go out into the world and make something of yourself. And sometimes they may disagree or agree with what you're doing, but if they're still there for you, I think that can really mean a lot. And in the world of independence, it's always great just to know that someone does have your back and is there to support you, and even maybe through just being inspired by a higher power to help someone else is really amazing. And I'm very fortunate to have that, and just to have that parachute, you could say, going through tough periods of life. Because I don't know, I don't really have any friends or perhaps siblings who would help me out. I'd like to think that I would, you know, help them, and when the time comes, you know, go back home and then take care of your own parents when they can't manage the household themselves. And I think that's like the trade-off that is life. Parents take care of you when you're younger, and then there's an obligation and the responsibility to pay it back in the future, and not just put aging parents or grandparents or whoever into an assisted living home. I think it's better to always stay in your own home as long as possible, and then at that time it's up to the younger generation and the children then to step in and fill that gap. And I think it's tough because the younger generations these days, you know, it seems like we're all struggling pretty bad, and it's hard to find the resources to do that. And I think going forward, it's definitely going to be a challenge. But that doesn't mean that we give up and we don't do it. Maybe it's we need to buckle down more and focus on that immediate family or those friends who have been there for you basically your entire life. So, however, to those parental figures watching, I know you try to tell me what to do, but I'm going to do the opposite, most likely. I'm going to do what my heart tells me to. And that's not against you or anything, but we have a difference of opinions, and I think that just like anyone else, I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to have to learn from them, move on, and live with the consequences, I suppose. But I mean, I think we're all trying to do our best and take care of those around us, no matter what. And perhaps there is a God up there doing the same. Just like our earthly parents, there has to be some heavenly parent up there as well, taking care of us and having our best interests at heart. Life is challenging, it's hard, and there's pain and suffering and death. But there's a purpose to it. And as long as we keep hold of that purpose and realize that it's all not for naught, that we will persevere, continue on, and enjoy the journey. I don't think I can jump that far. But there's a cool swing that someone nicely put up here. Oh man, it is a slippery bugger. If you're like a little kid, you'd be really living the dream. Okay, but this is the view right here. You're swinging and you're looking over the river, just having a grand old time.